The following is a presentation of the Fairfax Network.
Welcome to Universal Words, the show that selects vocabulary having universal concepts. Yes, every word we present has a place in every language. That means they're universal and important to know. During these lessons, we will inform you, entertain you, quiz you, and challenge you. Why? Because expanding vocabulary cultivates the mind. That's why. So let's start with word number 1. The word is ballast. If you understand ballast, you'll have a good understanding of the physical world. The definition is anything that gives stability. Iron, wood, plastic, food, water, or even you. Whatever it is, you can call it ballast if it gives stability. Train tracks must support tremendous weight, so the wooden ties are placed on beds of ballast. In this case, the ballast is rock, gravel, tons of it to give stability. Another example is the ocean-going oil tankers. After unloading their crude oil, the ships would rise way too high in the water and could easily capsize if they didn't take on some heavy ballast. What kind of ballast do you think they take on? Rocks and pebbles? I don't think so. Too hard to get on and off. Sand? Maybe that's why there's so much sand in Saudi Arabia. No, wrong again. In this case, the preferred ballast of ocean tankers is ocean water. And did you ever open a package and find these styrofoam sheets? This type of ballast gives great protection to the most breakable products. It's also good for school projects, and it's usually free. And now for word number 2. The word is Esperanto. The definition is an international language invented in 1887 by Ludwig Zamenhof, who lived in an area where people nearby spoke different languages. Because of this, there were misunderstandings, larger conflicts, and even wars. His dream was to develop an international language, easy to learn and easy to understand. He based it on several European languages. It had only 16 rules of grammar with no exceptions. I like that. His hope was for everyone in the world to be able to understand everyone. And if this could happen, there would be a more peaceful world. I have taken on the name Dr. Esperanto, the same name given to Ludwig Zamenhof, which means one who hopes. At its height, Esperanto was spoken by as many as 15 million people in 22 countries. The concept of Esperanto is world peace through tolerance and understanding. Don't be disappointed that Esperanto didn't continue to grow. As a practical matter, Esperanto has been replaced by English. English is the third most spoken language in the world now. But every time I see a symbol or word that is known to all people, it refreshes my spirit of Esperanto. The next word is relevant. Its definition is relating to the subject. If the subject is geography, maps, globes, rivers, and lakes are relevant. If we're talking about math, numbers, fractions, and multiplication tables are relevant. The word relevant has an antonym, or a word with an opposite meaning. The antonym for relevant is irrelevant. Usually, when people are talking about apples and oranges, they're considered irrelevant to each other. If you're watching the last period of the World Cup soccer game, most people would say everything in the world besides the game is irrelevant. And now for our first science word, vacuum. There is a verb, to vacuum the rug, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the noun, space with nothing in it, not even air. Vacuums are hard to find on Earth. And of course, the biggest vacuum is the vacuum of outer space. As you go up from the surface of the Earth, the air gradually gets thinner and thinner until at about 100 miles high, there's no air at all. The Space Shuttle astronauts travel at 17,000 miles per hour. Do you know what happens if they stick their hand out the window? Nothing. It's a vacuum. Do you know what happens if you're traveling on Earth at 17,000 miles per hour and stick your hand out the window? I'm not sure, but I can tell you it's very dangerous. In a little while, I'll take you to my laboratory and show you some vacuums. The next word is a Latin expression, quid pro quo. At this time, I'd like to introduce a famous personality and Latin expert here at Universal Words, Mr. Unum Pluribus. Mr. Pluribus, would you please tell us the definition of quid pro quo?
Certainly! Quid pro quo means this for that.
If I buy a television set for $500, the TV is the quid and the $500 is the quo. Or if I trade 5 Pokemon cards for a 1975 Superman comic book, that's also a quid pro quo. Word number 6 is mnemonics. Its definition is ways to improve memory. This is a very important word, especially when you have to remember countless facts with those SOLs. There are some traditional mnemonic devices that help us remember facts. Many of you are familiar with Roy G. Biv, a colorful character. Not really. The letters in the name Roy G. Biv stand for the colors of the rainbow in the exact order they appear: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Everyone who reads music knows that "every good boy deserves fudge" is a sentence that helps us remember the names of the notes on the lines. And the word face helps us remember the names of the notes in the spaces. These are examples of well-known mnemonic devices, but the truth of the matter is, most of the time, you'll have to make up your own mnemonic devices to remember all those facts. And if all else fails, you can always tie a string to your finger. Move on to number 7. Word number 7 is permeable. Its definition is allows water to seep through. Now, some things are permeable and some things are not. And sometimes it makes a big difference. You want to make sure that your umbrella is not made of permeable cloth. Cotton, cardboard, sponges, and the ground are all examples of permeable things. The antonym for permeable is impermeable. Glass, plastic, metal, and parking lots do not allow water to seep through, therefore they are impermeable. Is a water hose permeable? It lets water through, but the answer is no. Even though water passes through the hose itself is impermeable to water. Sometimes when air can seep through things, they're also called permeable. A good example of something that's permeable to air is contact lenses. The next word is access. Its simple definition is a way in. Often you need access codes to get into computer programs. A doorway is an access to a room, although the window can be used in emergencies. And sometimes, when there's no access, and you really want to get in, you have to make your own access.
I left my keys in my other toga.
Let's move on to word number 9. The word is veneer. Its definition is a thin covering, usually wood, like this walnut, or oak, and cherry. All these are considered hardwoods. The trees take a long time to grow, and their lumber is very expensive. So furniture makers take thin sheets of veneer and glue it over inexpensive wood, and make it look attractive for less money. Examine the furniture in your own house. Take a look behind and underneath and see if you can find the edge of the veneer, and then ask your parents what type of wood it is. The last word comes with a mini lesson on phonetics, the pronunciation of words and letters. The word is not phonetics, it's schwa.
God bless you.
I didn't sneeze. The word is schwa. It's a name of a vowel sound. It happens to be the most used vowel sound in the English language.
If it's the most used sound in the English language, how come I've never heard of it?
Of course you have. But before I tell you what it sounds like, let's review the vowel sounds using phonetic symbols. There are the long sounds, which everyone's familiar with. A as in cake, E as in seat, I as in bike, O as in hope, U as in music. And then there's the short vowel sounds. A as in cat, as in pet, I as in sick, as in hot, and as in cup. Then there are the diphthongs and consonant blends, like OW in cow, or a double O as in moon, KW as in quick. There are many others, but all of them are easy to figure out. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the sound of the schwa. I'll repeat it a few times so you don't forget.
I think it sounds like a caveman.
I think it sounds like a hyena.
I think it sounds like a seagull.
I think it sounds like a frog.
Whatever you think sounds like a schwa has to have the same vowel sound as in book, look, could, and should. That's the sound, you know the name, and the symbol is an upside-down E. And that's our final word. Do you have anything to say? And now it's time to go to my laboratory to find some vacuums. I can see 2 or 3 vacuums already. This is going to be great. I didn't mean to ignore you, 1812. Boys and girls, this is 1812, my laboratory inorganic pet. He loves science. 1812, you sit and watch and don't interrupt. We have 3 items here that relate to vacuums. The first is a jar of peanuts, vacuum packed. The second is a broken computer monitor which has a picture tube in it. And the third is a tin can in which we hope to create a vacuum. Let's start with the peanuts. It says they're vacuum packed for freshness. When I open up the top, all the air will rush in. You'll be able to hear that. So listen carefully. Did you hear it? That was a vacuum. Here's our picture tube, taken out of our computer monitor. As you can see, it's the biggest component of the computer monitor. It's quite large. It's made of glass, and there's a vacuum inside. There has to be a vacuum so that the electrons that come from this end will reach the screen on the other end. We're going to put this in this plastic bag, and I'm going to break the neck of it here. And when the air rushes into that vacuum, you should see the bag, which we will blow up, get smaller. I have it inflated about as much as it's going to go. And so, watch carefully because this is going to happen fast. That went so fast. Let's have a slow motion replay. For our last demonstration, we're going to try to create our own vacuum inside this tin can. I'm going to take the top off and place it on the hot plate. When cold air gets hot, it expands. I estimate that approximately 75% of that air is going to expand and come out. At that point, I'm going to take the can off the hot plate and put the top back on. I would say that's hot enough. Grab it with these pliers and start putting the top on. The air is cooling now, and as it cools, it contracts. The air can't get back in, the top is back on. The only thing that could happen is the can will implode. Let me assist by putting some drops of cold water on it. It is starting to implode from the back. There it goes. The air that was inside has contracted and is pulling the can in. That's called an implosion. You could see that at sea level, vacuums can be very powerful. Powerful enough to implode a tin can. And now that you know what a vacuum is, let's go and see what you know about all the words that were presented today. And now for Dr. Esperanto's quiz. Listen and watch each of the clues and pick the word from today's lesson that best fits the description. Between you and me, this is just a cover-up. The word is veneer.
Dr. Esperanto, catch!
It's schwa. Here we have a tape dispenser. I always wondered, what's under this little pad here? Gee. Sand? What, are they smuggling sand into the United States? This is enough to fill a sandbox. The word is ballast. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. Mnemonics. I have a tea bag here. Let's see how long it holds soda. Not too long. Permeable. For flies and bugs, a Venus flytrap has only this. Access. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. If everyone thought that way, the whole world would be blind and toothless. Quid pro quo. Vacuum. Esperanto. And now it's time to pick two contestants from our studio audience to be on Cognition Corner. And today we're going to pick Alyssa and Alicia.
Woo! All right.
Hello, Alicia and Alyssa. Thank you for being with us today on Cognition Corner. We have 10 clues in one language arts category. As soon as you know the answer, punch in those lights there. And our first category today is backwards. All the answers start with the word back. And here goes. A ready substitute. Alicia.
Backup.
Backup is correct. A supply carrier, popular among students. Alyssa.
Backpack.
Backpack is correct. A tennis swing. Alicia.
Backhand.
Backhand is correct. A tractor that digs. Sorry, too much time. Information or scenery surrounding the subject. Alyssa.
Background.
Background is correct. Behind the scenes of a play or performance. Alicia.
Backstage.
Backstage is correct. A fence or screen behind home plate.
Backstop.
Backstop is correct. A method of swimming face up. Alyssa.
Backstroke.
Backstroke is correct. Responding with sassy words. Alicia.
Backtalk.
Backtalk is correct. To return, retracing the original path. Alicia.
Backtrack.
Backtrack is correct. Alicia, you had the most correct answers. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And to our viewing audience, goodbye, good luck, and be with us again for our next show of Universal Words.